Okay, I'm trying this again. If you don't know who I am, I'm Suzanne Tidkemeier. I wrote for Pathos for nearly 10 years. Column called No Longer Quivering, having to do with the quiverful movement and the whole evangelical fundamentalism. Okay, before my electricity flickered and knocked me off, I was starting to talk about the Seven Mountain Mandate, the thing that Without a Box of Kleenex is talking about right now, and saying that all these dancers are this and that, and they're prevented from spending money or talking to their family and all this stuff because they're under the Seven Mountain Mandate. Maybe, but very unlikely. See, here's the thing about the Seven Mountain Mandate or Manifesto. I've seen it called both things. It is like the IBLP. It's like, oh, Doug Phillips and his whole shtick. It's like so many of these ministries. They're not connected with one particular church. They cut across all types of churches, all types of memberships. That is what the Seven Mountain Mandate is about. It is about proselytizing and getting their word out to every single Christian fundamentalist, evangelical, charismatic type church. Now, it was originally thought up in 1975 by three different guys. Francis Schaeffer, who is a televangelist. Interestingly enough, Francis's son writes for Pathos, the non-religious sector. He left fundamentalism and evangelicalism and has been highly critical of it ever since. The fellow who started Campus Crusade for Christ said he had the same vision at the same time in 1975. And a man whose name escapes me, who was heavily involved with international missions. The three of them claim they all had the same vision at the same time about the Seven Mountain Mandate. So, what is the Seven Mountain Mandate? Some people have called it a template for warfare on the culture, the sick culture of the U.S. It's part prosperity gospel, part part prosperity gospel, part hardcore Christian Dominionism. The seven mountains are things that they believe that need to be overtaken by Christians and then controlled for the entire United States, turn into kind of a Christian theocracy. They believe in overtaking education. That means shutting down public schools, having there be the only options being homeschooling or Christian schools. That's it. Shutting down universities. They only want Christian education, and they go pretty far out of their way to obtain that. So the second mountain they have to overtake is religion. In other words, they have to get everybody on the ball with prosperity gospel and Christian dominionism. The third mountain is family. As in, Christian families have to be the best. They have to stick together. They have to show the rest of the world. They have to overtake the rest of the world and show them how it's done. Number four is business. This one makes me laugh because almost everybody I know who's a businessman in Christian circles is rather unsuccessful. We're talking, they want to take over business and turn business into Christians only. Mountain number five is government. And that should be pretty self-explanatory. They want to go ahead and put nothing but Christians in the government, so we have this hardcore Christian dominionism, and everybody is a Christian. And if you're not a Christian, you're not allowed to do business, make money, do anything. They want to force the entire world to be that way. Number six is this shitty thing that has brought us, oh, what's his face? All those awful Kirk Cameron movies, Fireproof, and some of the others. They say they have to take over entertainment, and that's where Katie Joy comes in. She's talking about these dancers. I'm more worried about the movies they're turning out, and like there's a recent television show that they're all yakking about. They're turning out. They also want to embrace people like Kanye West, who obviously has a few screws loose. He's not exactly the most stable of characters, but he has been embraced by evangelicalism hardcore since his conversion, even though he made a video this week where he pretty much just straight out murdered his ex-wife's boyfriend. So I'm not sure how stable that man is. Number 7 is the media. Those of us that write, talk for a living, whatever, they want to place nothing but Christians in those positions. So basically, those are the 7 mountains that they think they have to overtake in order to establish a theocracy. Christian Dominionism, that's really what this boils down to. They want to tell everybody else what to do about this crap. And this came out of the charismatic movement. I would say it even has links back to the 1906 Azusa Street revival that happened in Los Angeles, which was really one of the first really big Pentecostal type revivals. So this is all based on Isaiah 2, verse 2. Now it shall come to pass in the latter days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established on the top of mountains. That is where they're coming up with all of this from. It's from that. Roots in early revival. Now they think it means they get to take over the entire world. Rooted in prosperity gospel. Heck, Paul White, who was Donald Trump's official pastor, is a member of the 7 Mountain Mandate. And she preached it to Trump as a reality to try and shape America into that Christian theocracy. So the reason that there's 7 of them is from the book of Revelations, because the number 7 is mentioned a number of times in the book of Revelations. This thing has been preached everywhere, but it went on hyperspeed in the 2000s when Lance Wallnau got his hands on it. Now, who is Lance Wallnau? Lance Wallnau is this guy's kind of a little, I think he's touched myself, but that's my personal opinion. I've been to one of Lance Wallnau's conferences that he spoke at. He claims to be a big businessman, that he's made millions of dollars, he's influenced and helped all these people's businesses. But when you look at his resume and you try to verify that, it seems to be like a lot of these guys, it's stuff they say that there's no proof of. So I'm just seeing that he has a business communications degree from like a Christian university. At the conference, he spoke about his business might, and trying to remember what all because it was so long ago. And then he started calling out people who had been sexually molested as children, all kinds of horrible, horrible situations. And somehow around me, I saw people falling on their knees, crying, weeping, horrible, horrible things that he was calling out that people were willing to confess to and get on their knees and carry on about. It was the strangest thing I'd seen, even in a charismatic Christian conference. He was calling on the supernatural to make this happen. Now, he is the biggest promoter of this thing. He seized upon the 1975 revelation to the 3 guys and has gone hyper crazy with it. The other one that has grabbed this and run with it is Bill Johnson of Bethel Redding, California, the same place where they prayed for the resurrection of poor Olive Heiligethal, the little girl that died who was the worship team member's daughter. Now, they really believe they were going to raise her from the dead. They have death-raising teams. You'll see that on Bethel's website. And they believe that all illness can be healed by prayer. They believe that God heals everybody. God wants to heal everybody. God wants to resurrect everybody, and they pray for that. They've gone some pretty strange places with their healing ministry. My old church used to follow Bill Johnson, and we would go to these huge healing conferences. And yes, the 7 Mountain Mandate was also taught at these things. I've heard it taught at places like Toronto Airport Christian Fellowship by their youth pastor, Duncan Smith, used to talk about being a high place taker, taking those 7 mountains for God. This is one of those ubiquitous things that's woven into a lot of different churches and theologies. That's what makes it dangerous. Much more so than Without a Box of Kleenex, claiming that this is some out there rare thing that is forcing dancers to dance for no money. Sure enough, that's bad if it's true. But this is one of those theologies that just cuts across so many places, and so many people are using it. They have various names for it. It doesn't even always go by 7M or 7 Mountain Mandate. I've heard it called a pile of different things. So now you know. This is something that Lance Wallnau seized upon in his weird little way, and he promoted relentlessly. But you have to look at Lance. He teaches a prosperity gospel. And he is hardly the only one. There are a ton of pastors out there that teach this prosperity gospel, which really doesn't have a whole lot to do with anything in the New Testament or Jesus at all. Nor does this. This is something they all just came up with that makes no sense at all. Okay, you guys, I'll see you later. I'm sorry my live stream kicked me out and would not let me back in, and now it's still running. It won't even let me do another live stream, so that's why I'm having to record this and upload it because the internet here sucks. It's better than what I had, but it's still not perfect. Have a great day.